There's too much negativity on Twitter, according to Elon Musk. But what does it mean to be positive or to be negative? Because most of the negativity that he is pointing out in recent days has to do with criticism of him, of a certain people group that people are saying control him, of politicians, etc. And he himself is taking part in the criticism of other politicians that he doesn't like, but he doesn't consider that being negative because he considers himself to be correct. So it makes for an interesting question. Is it negative if it is reality? I'm all about pointing positive. And on the river, there is one fundamental rule for communication, and that is point positive. You identify the risks and the dangers, all of the aspects of a Class 5 rapid that could kill you, of course. Like whitewater is serious business. But then you focus on the correct line through the rapid. The best line to succeed and survive and to have the most epic and fun adrenaline rush possible. Like, that's kind of the point. So, if we extrapolate that rule of point positive to life off the river, first of all, you have to identify the risks and the dangers and all of the things that could kill you, which means politicians, certain people groups that are genocidal by nature, certain people groups that are genocidal by nature that also control all of the politicians. And they also happen to be the people you cannot criticize, or you lose your blue check mark, you lose your ability to monetize your account, or you just completely lose your account. So it doesn't make sense that we have to just be happy, because that is akin to coming to a big Class 5 rapid that you've never run before and failing to scout it, failing to find the correct line, failing to identify the dangers and the risks and talk to your team about what those are, and simply jumping in and being like, I'm gonna think positive, I'm gonna think happy thoughts, and I'm gonna make it to the bottom of this Class 5 rapid. No, you're gonna get your ass kicked, or worse. So it is absolutely imperative that we call out the people who are dangers to our freedom, to our sovereignty, to our lives, to others, and then provide solutions. And there are many people who are doing that. Despite what Elon and others would have you think, social media is not just full of people just spouting hate speech. What they are calling hate speech is generally valid criticisms of the system that is in place, of politicians being owned by a certain people group, of double standards, of hypocrisy, etc. Yes, there is some hate speech, but free speech means free speech. Free speech means hearing things that you disagree with, that are offensive, that you don't like, that maybe are hateful. But eventually, because our natural state is one of joy, our natural state as humans is one of seeking to be happy and positive. Not in our society, but our natural state as humans. You don't see babies like coming out of the womb being negative, right? They seek joy, love, happiness, pleasure, smiles, that positive energy. At a fundamental level, a big part of the reason why so many people, I think, are angry, why I would say for me, why I would be angry at the system, because the system is built and designed to strip us of all of that natural joy, all of the freedom to pursue things that do bring us joy, in order to enslave us into a certain ways of thinking, certain ways of acting, certain ways of doing, being, behaving, obeying, to where essentially we become mindless robots. And that is what the transhumanists are looking for. That's what they want. That is the agenda. That's the 2030 agenda. So it is right to call that out. And in order to call it out, you have to point to who's behind it and why they benefit from going down this path. But then, point positive. What's the solution? How do we defeat that system, burn it to the ground completely, so that we can start over and rebuild something that is more human-centered rather than technology and power-centered? And then, how are we able to build a separate system? So once we determine what those controlling negative voices are, how do we starve them of the attention that they so desperately need while building our own separate system? You might say, that's completely unrealistic, Josh. Well, if that's completely unrealistic, then you're just admitting that we are all slaves and that there is nowhere on this planet that we can go to escape the reach of our slave masters. And you're kind of making the point for us. Now, if you're happy being a slave, I'm sorry for you. Many of us are not. We don't want to be slaves. We do not believe that the system does anything positive for us. And so we have been constantly seeking some place on earth that is more free, some way to exist within the system but outside the system. And it's a challenge. But it's a challenge worth undertaking. We are in the midst of an ideological war for humanity, and the technology that the ruling overlords have and are now beginning to utilize more and more, and will as we go into the future, is going to get more powerful to the point where if it's not defeated, there won't be any escape. Hollywood always tells us what's going to happen. So if you look at Eagle Eye, The Matrix, Terminator series, etc., all of that is either here already, like Eagle Eye, or it's coming. And probably many, many more. So, yeah, we can post pretty pictures of mountains and flowers and whatever else. But Elon knows that that's not what Twitter is for. That's not what X is for. He supposedly bought it to be the savior of free speech, right? And now free speech means everything that promotes the agenda that I want to promote, but nothing that is criticism of me, as in Elon. Nothing that is criticism of a certain people group, which controls him and all of the politicians and all of the AI companies, etc. It's going to be interesting how this year plays out, because he's already burned his goodwill that he built up all over the course of last year in just a few days. And that's not an exaggeration at all. I mean, he's demonetizing and even suspending accounts that are critical of him or a certain people group, while then telling people, only set your replies or follows or whatever to people who have a blue check mark. Like, it's pretty easy to see through. And yeah, we can have this fight with a good attitude, honestly. And this is something that, for me, there is a deep anger against the system, but there is a joy in life. And so I'm constantly thinking, okay, how would I look at this? If it was in the middle of a rapid and I knew that there was something that would kill me, I wouldn't spend emotional energy in that moment on the thing that could kill me. I would spend all of my resources, my physical, mental, emotional energy on staying online through the rapid, in the right place, getting to where I need to go. I wouldn't be focused on that danger. I know it's there. I know I don't want to go there. I know I don't like it. But there's no point in getting all worked up and getting angry about it when I need to focus on the positive line to get through the rapid. And so I think that's, for me at least, something that I can really hold on to and be like, remind myself when I start getting really pissed off about what's happening in the world. At the fact that, like, I mean, I can't even get back one of my Twitter accounts that I started and paid the premium thing for. And I only posted like twice, and they say I was a violation. What's the point of being mad about it, right? Like, it's silly. I'm gonna keep doing what I was doing, and I just won't do it on X, or I'll do it on my personal account until that gets suspended. Yeah. Anyway, be positive, point positive, acknowledge the dangers and the risks and all the things that can kill you, but then spend your mental and emotional energy on going where you want to go.